Welcome back to the channel, legends. Today we're going to be reviewing TheSeus, a new PSVR title. As always, if I receive a code to review, I like to let you legends know. So first up, the story. What is this game? What is it about? TheSeus, what are we getting in for? It's a game about Greek mythology, the myth of the Minotaur and the labyrinth. You wake up at the beginning of the game, alone in a mysterious place, until you hear a voice, a very nice voice, the voice of Ariadne. She's your guide. You explore the labyrinth. Following her light, you'll see a pillar, a light, very far off in the distance. You need to keep moving towards this beam of light. The story isn't amazing, but it certainly is good enough to keep you playing the game until the very end to find out, what is going on. The mystery of the game definitely is enough to keep you going. The ending, however, was a little bit disappointing in my opinion and kind of abrupt. It just kind of ended, although there is a secret ending. If you beat the game, getting all these collectibles, I think it's basically these kind of memory type things. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but there's collectibles, and if you get them all, you get the true ending. I haven't managed to beat the game getting the true ending, so I can't comment on that ending, but the ending that most people are going to get, I think, would be a little bit disappointing. I personally beat the game in one sitting, and it took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to beat, which I was actually kind of surprised at because I heard it was about 4 hours to 5 hours long. So a little bit surprising at the length of the game there, but it is enjoyable and it doesn't really overstay its welcome. The game itself, however, takes on a pretty unique perspective for a VR game. It's not the typical first-person VR game, it's actually a third-person. You're basically playing a third-person action game. You use the PS4 controller, no motion controls whatsoever, with you being this kind of camera, a camera that is fixed in certain locations, and you're the camera that looks around. It kind of reminded me of the old Resident Evil games, where the camera's kind of fixed in a location, and you move around. The only difference is, of course, you're the camera this time, so you can move your head to look in the different areas. You'll also have moments where the camera follows behind the main character, really close up, so you don't have direct control of your character at those moments. You kind of just press forward and go forward. You can, however, which is pretty cool, is if you move your head to the left and the right, up and down, the character on screen also moves his head in those directions. There's also combat in the game. It's nothing special, but it does the job. You have a basic attack, a dodge, and you also have a torch that if the enemies kind of start to swarm you, you can use the torch to back them off. You can actually also, if you hit them with the torch, if they're low on health, it'll set them on fire. And then you also have a kind of finishing move where once they're really injured, you can press square and it'll do a little animation to kill them. While you're making your way towards this beam of light, as I mentioned, you're constantly being hunted by the Minotaur. This guy is huge and incredibly powerful, so you want to be sneaking around and trying to get past him without being noticed. The game is quite linear, but you do also have moments where you'll have to backtrack to certain areas and to gain access to new areas in the maze. There's a reason for this, and it's actually a quite cool reason, and it ties everything together, but I won't go into that for spoiler reasons. You'll figure it out. It's pretty cool. So quickly touching on the graphics and the sound, the game looks pretty good. It's got some decent lighting. The sky does look quite bad though. For whatever reason, it looked kind of weird. And the sound also does its job, and it can actually be pretty creepy in certain areas, and the atmosphere can be pretty cool as well. So I just want to give some overall thoughts on what I did like and what I didn't like. Overall, I think the game is cool. For me at least, it was a one-sit playthrough that I think most people will enjoy, with a story that makes you want to continue playing to see what mysteries lie ahead. I know other games on VR have done third person, and it is a different approach. There's only a very few games that actually do the third person mechanic. And I actually think it works out pretty well, and I think more developers are probably going to try and do this kind of format because it does actually work really well. I think at the minute the devs will come up with more ideas and more experimentation of what they can actually do with this third person camera, and I do think they're going to start expanding it in the future. A little bit off topic, but you know what I would like to see? I would love to see Capcom do this kind of third person camera in Resident Evil. I mean, the remake in Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 7 had a complete VR mode, and it was absolutely brilliant, and to this day remains my favorite VR game. I think it would be just amazing if Resident Evil 2, the remaster, took this kind of approach of a fixed camera angle for VR and you could look around the map, because it just brings such a new perspective on Resident Evil because the cameras are fixed. you'd be able to look in whatever direction. I mean, it'd be a lot of work for the guys over at Capcom, but I think it would be really, really cool. And of course, you know, it'd just be an option. You can play standard or you could play VR, and I think that would be amazing. I do want to say, I know this is an incredibly small team, but things I would like to have seen be improved and expanded upon. I'd like the game to be a little bit longer. I think an hour and a half is a little bit on the short side. I think it could have added maybe a little bit deeper tactical combat, you know, maybe extra weapons and upgradables and stuff like that. More variety in the enemy types. Regardless, it's a great start for this team, and I think we'll see more games. Every time I play a new VR game, I see how far it can truly go. You always get these new perspectives on the gameplay, and certain developers trying out this thing and then another developer trying out this niche little thing. But I feel like once they start combining all these things together, I think we can expect some really, really good VR games. As for the price, unfortunately at this time of the review, which is about a week early before the game releases, I have no idea whatsoever about the price, so I can't really comment on whether it's worth it for the price, so I can't say anything on whether it's worth the asking price. Hopefully it's priced reasonably though. Also, I know you guys are out there. For those of you that care about trophies, this game does not include a platinum trophy. And that's the end of the review. I hope you legends enjoyed it. And hopefully the review brought the game to your attention if you didn't know about it, and helped you decide on whether or not the game is for you. And as I said earlier, every time I play a new VR game, I always see new things and people doing things differently, and it's really cool to see the growth. But with that said, I want to thank the great people over there at Forge Reply. Making games is time consuming and difficult, so thank you developers over there. Leave a like if you did. Consider subscribing for more games. Please put down in the comments, you know, your thoughts on the game. What did you think? Are you going to pick it up? Are you not going to pick it up? I love to read your guys' comments, so please do leave them. I love to read the opinions of other people. And as always, I'll catch you legends on the next video.